Alright everyone, talk about Moral Panic 101. A tattoo apparently shut down a music festival in New Zealand a few days ago. Somebody in the crowd apparently thought they saw someone with a tattoo that indicated, like, I don't know, far-right, so-called extremist views. Like, I'm assuming it was probably like a cross or something, because by New Zealand standards, I think being like a religious Christian would probably put you in that category. It's funny how people conflate racial nationalism, religion, and like left-right paradigm identity politics and wedge issues and stuff. They conflate the three together, so they assume that like a religious extremist is automatically also politically motivated, or vice versa, and weird shit like that. Like if someone kills in the name of Jesus, it's far-right extremism, and it's really. But if someone kills in the name of like Allah or something, for some reason it's not like left-wing extremism. In fact, I think they categorize that as right-wing or some stupid shit. I don't know. Shit's all fucked, yo. But anyway, I was thinking to myself, what exact tattoo was this, number one? Number two, doesn't this show a collective psychological panic that should be probably warned against and avoided? Like, if the people running society, like so-called leaders or representatives, if they had any intelligence at all, if they were noble as opposed to completely corrupt, they would be telling people to fucking calm their jets instead of saying, oh yeah, you're right to be afraid. We need to change. We need to drastically overhaul every segment of society. Like, this is almost like 9/11 New Zealand mode. It's like, you know, equivalent scale for the size of the nation. A bunch of people die. It's very sad. What do? They say, okay, we're going to jail anyone for watching this video. We're going to jail anyone for reading his manifesto. We're going to crack down on the internet. We're going to demand that all of these tech firms give up personal user data to fuck privacy. We're going to crack down on weapons. We're going to fundamentally overhaul significant aspects of Kiwi society because of one tragic event. This happened in the United States after 9/11, and what happened? Years later, we realized the reaction was stupid. It didn't make anyone safer. It just made them less secure in their persons and papers. It made them less free in every way. We ended up getting angry and afraid and pissing away resources for no reason. Fundamentally, most people in the United States remained perfectly safe, even at the height of that panic. And then eventually they all chuckled and said, oh, haha, I wasn't one of those people that totally freaked out and thought it was the end of the world. Oh, I wasn't one of the people that was taken in by Bush's, famous speeches about if they ain't for us, they's against us, and stupid shit like that. And Saddam has nuclear weapons, and we got to go over and beat up them people in that Middle Eastern place over there, like Afghanistan, because he didn't know geography. People were taken in. They reacted in fear. It was a panic. The same thing's happening in New Zealand. There's a moral panic going on. There has been for a couple of years regarding pretty much everything on the internet. It's like there's a new term that they're trying to popularize, YouTube extremism. YouTube is causing people to become like extreme and violent, including people that don't actually advocate any form of violence, including people that are very tame. PewDiePie causes violence. Oh my god. Candace Owens causes violence. Like they took that bait. The shooter was clearly trolling the mass media and saying, well, I'm going to mention Candace Owens because, they're going to call me a white nationalist, obviously. So I'm going to mention this black woman here who has, like, very standard conservative views and everything and is basically just less pro-censorship than yesteryear's evangelocons, basically. And they're going to take the bait and they're going to, start going after her. And then she, like, lashes out with bemusement and they tried to jump down her throat about that. It's like, what do you... Dude, she's being slandered by someone who just slaughtered dozens of people, okay? I think she has a right to respond with a little bit of bitterness and dry humor. A very weird time. Must be sad to be a New Zealander, and also they have an official censor, apparently, over there. This is definitely a British remnant. I guess there's one dude in New Zealand who can unilaterally decide that any form of communication or content is against the law. How very, very strange that must be to not have any freedom at all. Yeah, you're like saying, well, oh my god, someone might get killed, like, splattered or something, so we need to give the state, which is the most potentially abusive entity of all, the ability to crack down on us, make our lives more limited and, like, shitty and stuff like that. This isn't basically throwing the baby out with the fucking bathwater. It's more like just throwing the baby out, putting your head in the bathwater, and then taking a dive with a fucking toaster, if you ask me. They're making exactly the wrong decisions. It's a mistake, just like all reactive things. What should happen, what I think should happen? After traumatic events like this, mass shootings, terrorist attacks and stuff, any civilized state should enact a policy whereby after those events, for some time afterwards, no new legislation can be enacted of any kind. at least with regards to things like that, guns and speech and stuff. No new legislation. Make it a month-long moratorium whenever there's an obvious sign of moral panic going on, when people aren't talking about anything else, they're like all warped out and stuff. In order to prevent the tyranny of the delusional majority in such a situation, cooler heads should prevail. Because people a week or two later, they sort of calm down and they realize, okay, it's back to normal. Mama keeps the kids home from school after 9/11 for a couple days. Ultimately, they got to go back to school and shit. Life goes on. Yeah, life can suck sometimes. People die, and then tragic things. An airliner falls out of the sky, and there's a tidal wave, and Ebola and stuff like that. Life will have to go on. Trust me, the human race has experienced worse. It's like a couple of the Parkland kids, used to be kids, killed themselves over the course of the last week. Like, I guess one of them killed themselves, and that must have pushed the other one over the edge. I'm assuming that they're probably interrelated. And it's like, yes, it's very sad, but then all I saw, instead of people saying, well, that's sad, trauma's a bitch, maybe we should deal with mental health issues more. There were some people saying that, but more of them were like, oh my God, ban guns. What are you talking about, dude? Oh my God, see, if we only banned guns, these kids would be alive. Oh my goodness, it is like someone pointed out that like more people from Columbine died thereafter of suicide than died in the attacks or something. I don't know if that's actually true, but I saw that claim, I guess, being made. I can imagine. I mean, it would be traumatic. But to base your entire national policy on a few fucking psychopaths and also their victims, that doesn't work. No, when you do that, you end up destroying empires and nation states and so forth. So I think that calmness should prevail, but I mean, New Zealand has blocked most of alt tech. Or is trying, VPNs exist. You can still get on YouTube. Like, I wonder, is my channel eventually going to get blocked in New Zealand? Like, maybe it already is, because I've talked about Christchurch, because I talk about edgy political content. So you're going to say, well, we need to stop blocking those YouTube extremists. So again, you're back to the Data Society bullshit, where you're alt-right adjacent because you talked to somebody a year ago. Wow. What an enlightened way to go about designing national policy. This totally isn't dystopian, everyone. It totally makes perfect sense. That's about all. Peace out.